My name is Andrei Gurkin. I'm the Senior Pre-Sales Manager at 1CI company, and today I want to tell and show you the new capabilities for building multiple types of accounting, which will be in the upcoming releases. And once you drive, then you can see in December and in January. We will, yeah, we will start from the company lifecycle and types of accounting that the accompanies all the stages. So we will start from the basic needs during the company lifecycle and how we can cover them by once you drive capabilities. Then we switch on to the benefits of our new capabilities, which you will see, and we can dive deeper into key features. So we will start from the master data. What shall we specify in our system to generate all the entries, and which new workplaces will you see, new reports, and after that we will start the Q&A section where my colleagues will help me with the answers. So first of all, let's start from the company life cycle and the accounting requirements during all the stages, phases from it life cycle. But through the let's see through the information systems perspective. So when the company start to operate, yeah. So first of all, it starts from the so-called operational accounting or basic business environment, which you can see in once you drive, and it can operate with different reports that we have, such as net sales, expenses, income, warehouse, and so on. After that, the company is usually want to add different types of accounting within its system. And if the ambitions of the top management and the founder itself are very high, the company becomes the group of companies, or after that or during that period, it can go to another countries, and that's why the few next types of accounting can be added in the system. But if we go into the head of the founder or the top management, which questions they face. So at the very beginning, the main question is either we're profitable or not. Is usually operational accounting is enough for that stages, and they don't want to bother with the tax accounting in the system at all. So the operational accounting is enough. During the next stages from growth to maturity, the company's appetite is very high, and gradually it goes more and more, and they want to switch on the tax account and add new entries to the existing documents, use another documents, develop new reports, and prepare reports for the group of companies. And as the result, it's an early stage operational accounting is sufficient, and during all these stages, with grown up appetite, we face with adding more and more future needs. Is usually it's need to implement as soon as possible, and the more complicated the accounting becomes, the more parameters must be considered. And companies faced with such questions as how we can combine such completely different life cycle stages in one IT solutions. The next question can be provide the simplicity at the first stage and the complete control at the following. How do not turn edit a new accounting type of accounting into building a large amounts of source code? How do not depend on the different types of the restrictions, such as the existing number of chart of accounts, type of accounting, certain number of nesting levels within the chart of accounts, and so on. And with the company's growth, manage the lifetime of the accounts, use the accounts only by certain companies, and so on. And how in complex, how to provide advanced users with the ability to customize their own, possibly unique accounting module. And we now get the answer, the response to all of these needs, our new subsystem. And the purpose of this new subsystem is to provide the tools to customize the accounting model according to the specific business needs of each company, and our customer can decide what types of accounting to keep, what chart of accounts to use, what entries to record, and what details to store in accounting entries. The key benefits are the power of the new capabilities is honestly behind the scenes for the users. So it means that we operate with all of the functionality that you will see in this presentation is usually in the beginning stage of the adding new types of accounting or increasing the amount of jail accounts or setting up the new template and so on. But after that, the users can concentrate on their needs. They can use business documents as usually. Then they can analyze the results via different types of reports, and that's all. So don't be afraid. The new capabilities we will face with it only on the beginning stages of the implementation, and adding new types of accounts. More benefits. So from this particular moment, we don't have any limits in numbers. So it means it doesn't. It's no matter also how many types of accounting do we want to add. So how many chart of accounts do we want to add, and so on. We can just construct the new models from scratch. So that means no code anymore. And we can create such unique models with unique rules, which allow any combinations of settings. We will see it in more detailed way. So the key features will start from the data, from master data. Do you remember the first slide? Yeah. So when we will when we face with a startup, it doesn't need any types of accounting at all. So we can switch off this checkbox. So you can see it's register account entries. But when we want to add new types of accounting, we can switch it on and add new types of it can be accounting under the laws of the particular country, international standards, GAAP, corporate standards, and so on. And we can add as many charts of accounts as we want to. Next key feature, yes. So until this release, upcoming release, we couldn't create compound compound entries. So from now on, we can provide such functionality. It means that more than one account is debited from one side and more than one account is credited from the other side. So here you can see the example. So here we can see 3 entries. First and second, you can see debit side, and the third one, you can see the credit side. Regarding the simple entries, you have seen it before, so it's no news. So for each debit, a corresponding credit is recorded, and vice versa. Quantity. Now you can analyze your balances and turnovers by quantity. So you can only check this checkbox. Quantity, as you can see, for the 152 GL account, you can switch it on, and that's all. In any accounting reports, you can see the turnovers and balances by quantity. Analytical dimensions. It's brand new feature too, and it's perfectly fit for the situations when we have a lot of objects to account for on GL accounts, but we don't need or we don't want to add a new sub account for each object. And of course, it depends on numbers. So if you want to analyze your turnovers or balances, for example, for 2 products or 2 suppliers or customers, it's okay. But if we are talking about tens and hundreds and thousands, it's not so simple. And you can use any data type of OneC drive, such as catalog, any catalogs, any documents, or even you can create your composite aggregated type. You can see it on the screen. You can add as many types as you want to, and create another type. But it's better to see, to understand the meaning of the analytical dimensions on the example. So the first example, you have two GL accounts, for example, 100 and 200, yeah, and you want to add, you want to analyze your turnovers and balances in the accounting reports by your products, or for example, you want to break it down into categories or something else. Doesn't matter. What you should do, you should add a new sub account for each product or product category. And as the more products you have, the more sub accounts you should add to. It's not so good idea, of course. And here, by the way, you can see the quantity column, as I mentioned before, but we have the simple answer for it. So you can switch on the analytical dimension for these 2 accounts. Switch on, and in a minute you will have the same result. So you don't need to add any sub accounts anymore. So, and the benefit is, the more objects you have, the more benefits you get from this new capability. Another example, you have two GL accounts, one for the accounts payable and one for the accounts receivable, and you want to analyze the turnovers by counterparties. And the same answer for using previous releases, we should add new sub accounts for each counterparties. But from this release, you can again do it in a minute. You can switch counterparties analytical dimension set here, and the same benefit. So let's take a look at the more complicated example. You want to analyze your turnovers not only by products, but the first level you want to see the warehouses, and the second level you want to see it on dividing by products. I think you understand what you should do for it, but for us, the same answer. You can switch the analytical dimension set. So now we know the meaning of the word set, and it looks like here, yeah, and you can see that we can add one analytical dimension set, which consists of two analytical dimensions. We can specify this analytical dimension set for one particular GL account. So when the company grows and became the group of company, maybe we or our clients here we will face such questions as, can one part of our company use one particular GL account, but the other part of our companies don't use this GL account? Okay, now we can add as many companies as we want to in this particular GL account, and that companies that are not listed in this list, yeah, they cannot operate with this GL account. Regarding default GL accounts, so maybe most of you remember that we have some limits before, but based on your feedback, we have removed the limits. So before we, so the areas and types for default accounts was strictly limited by specific areas such as products, account payable, accounts receivable, bank account, etc. We had strictly limited numbers of areas, which consist of 12 catalogs and 2 registers. So we could specify only one side, so all debit or credit for the particular GL accounts. And chart of accounts was only one on the primary chart of accounts. The default filter types and number of accounts for one rule was specified within the particular area. But from this moment, we removed all these limits. So now you can see we can operate any numbers, any types, and so on within our default GL accounts. You can see you can see the example here. So product GL accounts, the specific GL accounts for specifying here, and here you can see another example. So counterparties GL accounts, filters, we can use only 4 filters here, accounts from both sides, from the accounts receivable and accounts payable, and specified 4 and 3 GL accounts for each side. Now we can answer the questions. Which areas do we want to cover? So it's can be any area not including products or counterparties and so on. What filters will they have? How many accounts will they populate, for example, when we use these default GL accounts, for example, 100 different accounts, and we can specified here. So here you can see 2 tab sections. That means that we don't have any limits. Please add as many as you want to. And the second question, we should narrow all the filters with the filters values, the action area for future accounts population, and specify the accounts. So it looks like here. So this is the default account with the filters value, but we don't have the specified values here. That means that the area is the same. And here you can see different jail accounts for the account reference name that we specified on the previous step. Lifecycle done. We have such capabilities as specifying the validity periods and statuses. That means so when if our company grows, we can add new accounts, default accounts, or different types of templates. We can specify the validity period of it, and when we don't need this account anymore, we can specify the due date, for example, and that's all. So we can provide all the life cycle in our system. So let's go to the template and beyond. What should we do to generate our entries? Let's start from the principles of generating. We should answer 3 questions. So what will we populate in our templates, which will be taken into account when the entries are generated? By what each should be generated, so different types of documents, and when it should be generated. So the answer for the first question, we should specify the parameters in our accounting entries templates, and it will be, some kind of foundation for the second step here for the accounting transaction templates. Regarding the answer to the question by what is this, the first option you already know. So source documents, it's the classic generation when the entries are generated by the source document. But here you can see the second option, accounting transaction document. It's a new type of document which can generate the entries by itself, and it's could be suitable, can be suitable for different cases, such as, for example, you don't want to bother yourself or your managers, for example, of the entries, and maybe you want to generate the entries, for example, once a month, for example, for your corporate account, and so on. And for the second option, we have another 3 options. We can do it manually, but maybe it's not our cup of tea. We can do it automatically, when a source document is posted, and automatically by schedule. So any schedule we can specify in our settings. So let's start from the accounting entries templates. This looks like here. We have a new catalog for it, where we narrow all the parameters that we have on the top. For example, type of accounting, chart of accounts, and so on. And we can specify it more by selecting different parameters. I'll show you how it works. And after that, we should specify all the attributes of the future entry that will be generated by our source document or transaction. So we should specify the mode, debit or credit side, company, period, account, and if we use analytical dimensions, the values of these dimensions. From the both sides, from debit and credit, the quantity, where should we get it, and the amounts. One for the transaction currency and one for the presentation currency. So how it's look? Yeah, here you can see. First of all, we should select the data source from the for the future generating of entries. So where can we get our data? Is it a tab section of our source document? So, for example, here you can see that we creating the entry template for the supplier invoice document, and we choose the tab section here, inventory. After that, we can specify the different parameters, and after that, we should specify all the attributes. So here you can see we select where can we get the company, how can we populate future analytical dimensions, so where can we get this data, and more impressive example with the 4 analytical dimensions here. And if regarding the amounts, we can use the calculator here. So it can be or the simple view of these formula modes, where we can create a new formula. I will show you and how it looks in the system. Just a minute. Okay. Yes, accounting templates. So it's a new catalog, as I mentioned before. Let's look how. Yeah, let's look at, and here you can see the parameters and the entries. So here you can see the example of the accounting entries template, which targeted to the document supplier invoice document, and it will create three entries, compound entries. So 2 entries for debit side with the GL accounts 150, 191, and 1 entry for the credit side, which it will be 420 for the credit side. And here you can see all the attributes. So okay, so how it works? I should choose type of accounting, chart of accounts, document type. Here we can choose any type, but for the example, I created a new type of accounting with 1 document only, supplier invoice. Entries, yeah, we can add entry. And how can we specify all our data source? So here you can see tab sections. So for example, we can choose inventory, but if we want to, we can use different data from the different accumulation registers here, if you want to. For example, we choose the inventory tab section. After that, we can specify where can we get the company, for example. So here in data source, we already specified our tab section, and here you can see the other attributes of this particular document. So where can we get company? For example, it's here. period account, and so on. We can choose account from the chart of account, or we can use default account. But first of all, okay, the system asks us, please specify the validity period here. Okay, we can use, for example, the 1st of November. So let's go to accounts. We can choose adding account here, for example, 150, or we can choose the default account that I have already mentioned before. Okay, again. And regarding the analytical dimension set, how can we use it? We can specify the analytical dimension set. Here you can see the analytical dimensions from it, and we can fill. And the system proposes us to use this value from this document. We can choose another one, and it goes here. And regarding the amounts, we can use the calculator mode, formula mode for calculating different formulas here. So, for example, total minus tax check formula. Okay. Next step, we should specify the accounting transaction templates where we can use already existing accounting entries templates with the same parameters. So here you can see how we can create accounting transaction template based on the same information. You can see these filters here. Then we can use, and we can select the existing accounting entries template to fill the accounting transaction template. So how it works? Okay, we create accounting transaction template. We can choose the chart of account, document type, supplier invoice, again, status active, the 1st of November, fill the parameters, and here we can select the existing available template with the same parameters as I mentioned before. Okay, choosing it, and here you can see the entries that were populated by the information from the accounting interest template. Here you can see the accounts that's filled here and all the information. So let's go further. We can specify source document list for each type of account. The list of source documents, here you can see the 2 examples. So for one company and one type of accounting, it could be one type of document for another type of accounting for the same company. It could be the other list of documents. So as I mentioned before, we have no limits. Generating accounting entries. Okay, so documents, I think it's we already understand what is it. And regarding the accounting transaction document, here you can see the example, and we can see the accounting entries management workplace that we already have in OneSeed Drive. And here you can see the example of for one particular supplier invoice with a number 127 with the two types of accounting. For tax accounting, the entries was generated by the supplier invoice by itself, but for IFRS type of accounting, the accounting transaction was generated, and the entries, we can see it here. So accounting transaction, it looks very simple. So here we can see the reference to our base document, which is supply invoice, and which template was used for the generating these entries, and one tab sections where our entries we can see it. Regarding the generating accounting transactions, okay, we have different options for it, as I mentioned before. Okay, manually and automatically by schedule. So on the right side, you can see the automatical job for it here, and you can specify the time, the days when you want your accounting transactions should be generated. So let's go further, and here you can see the workplaces. We've seen the workplace for accounting entries, which we had before, but right now it's updated with a different, with another type of filter, where we can filter our list of documents. Other accounting transactions are generated or not, and we can approve here our entries and accounting transactions, and we can adjust manually if we want to some entries here. Chart of accounts management workplace. It's a new workplace for us, and here we can add new accounts manually, for example, or we can do it using the import, for example, from XLS files import functionality. It's very convenient for you, maybe because to add a lot of accounts in the chart of accounts, it's not so simple. And here we can add companies to different accounts, change activities, etc. Regarding the accounting reports, okay, you have seen the first two reports, I think, so trial balance and account statement. But now you can add groups, for example, for the types of accounting. Here you can see the example where we see our balances and turnovers for the types of accounting, two types of accounting, and another example where we drill down to where we click this cell, and after that we can analyze the existing account statement, but with a different analytics, So here we can see the example where on the first level we can see the main warehouse, and after that in the second group we can see products, and new report here. The purpose is to analyze your analytical dimensions. It could be the simplest examples, such as warehouses, products, or counterparties contracts. You can switch on GL accounts or switch them off, or maybe you can analyze it vice versa. So, for example, you at the top level you can see analytical dimension, and on the second level you can see the accounts. So, for example, here you can see the product, the top secret product with the number 7544, and 4 GL accounts where the turnovers, and let's see it. So, for example, here you can see the trial balance report, and the same example, but here you can see the recorder group. And when we click this cell, here you can see that example. Yeah, so on the first level, you can see warehouses, and the second level products. And the new report, analytical dimension analysis. Here you can see the product on the top level and the accounts on the second level. For example, we want to analyze the same way. So the first level should be warehouse and the second level products. And maybe we want to, yeah, we want to add types of accounting on the first level, then warehouses, then products. Okay, accounts, we don't need it. And let's see. So different types of accounting and different analytical dimensions here. So as I mentioned before, yeah, it's a brand new capabilities. So that's why we right now we are working hardly to make it more suitable for you. So now in progress we have such tasks as enhancements in ease of use. We are developing accounting setup wizard for streamline and simplify all the actions when you want to add new types, type of accounting. We're developing other accounting reports, and we improving month end closing. Thank you very much for having us. Thank you very much for your attention. And